Kailan?
Kijk, hoe ze maat wordt hersen passiert.
Upan. Yeah. I wonder how much for a day. Pretty steep.
This was a shallow sea. The sea slowly receded. As you walk through, you'll see crustacean burrows that look almost like iron deposits, and it's really actually very fascinating. Kind of puts all of this in a time frame. Off to our left right here, we have a small panel of head cliffs. Communication. Maybe it was religious art. It's hard to say, really hard to say. And it's actually kind of hard to see some of those figures. If you're interested in rock art, I recommend the first mile of the Penasco Blanco Trail. Thousands, all over, lots of it. I gave this tour about a week and a half ago and found a pottery sherd. And it's still here. This is rare. This isn't a really fine example of pottery sherd. It's suffered a lot of weathering. But our stabilization crew is composed of Navajo, and the more traditional Navajo won't come through Chaco Canyon because it's a place where the dead have been. So it's avoided. One of the things that I really like to point out to visitors about the Park Service, sometimes I feel as though I've been indoctrinated because I refer to the energy that goes into it is remarkable, and I have a strong appreciation for that. Another area that I really enjoy is the dialogue that the Park Service maintains with the Native Americans. You look at the different pueblos around, and the pueblos are thought to be the descendants of what happened here. And you have different language groups. We don't really know, it's almost impossible to trace. There's not a written language here. Nonetheless, the pueblos are thought to be descendants. And when things happen in the canyon, when signs are made, when there are changes of policy, what have you, there's a conversation that goes on with the Park Service and people from the Native American communities around. An example of this is Casa Rinconada. For the longest time, the interpretive tour, like the tour I'm doing right now, was given right through the ruin. And while we were down in the ruin talking to the visitors about kivas and their meaning and their place in modern cultures, what we were doing we were heavily offending the Pueblos. We had no right. It was not our place to be in that kiva talking about the myths.
Over in Canyon de Chelly, like a lot of the dwellings are more individual dwellings, but they're built in the cliffs themselves. There's a lot of speculation as to why they're built in the cliffs. Most of these all seem to be built in the canyon floor.
They are built in the canyon. There's not really the technique to keep it warm in the winter.
So that would tend to kind of cross out any theories of building the ruins in Canyon de Chelly for any defensive purposes.
It could have been defensive.
You mentioned a while ago that the Navajos are leery of this place, mainly because of the dead. How do you explain Canyon de Chelly?
I can't. I'm afraid I wouldn't be able to. There are lots of theories about why Chaco Canyon was deserted in the 1200s.
And Emotions, more great music on the way from Boyz II Men and Dino, so stay tuned.